Hello, good morning all, and welcome to the course of Thermodynamics. I am Ajin Stephen from the Department of Mechanical Engineering at Al-Azhar College of Engineering and Technology, Todupuzha, and I am going to offering this course for next semester. Thermodynamics basically deals with conversion and conservation of energy in various forms, and it forms the basics or fundamentals practically in all fields in the area of thermal engineering, and also it is something which would be used in other fields too. In other words, if you define thermodynamics is a science which deals with the relation among heat, work and properties of system which are in equilibrium. It describes the state and changes in the state of physical systems. When we deal with thermodynamics, here we assume matter exists in a continuum. Matter is made up of atoms that are widely spaced in gaseous phase. It is convenient to consider the atomic nature of the substance and view it as a continuous homogeneous matter with no holes is called continuum. That is, for example, assume a container having gas and gaseous molecules are practically widely spaced or it is not closely packed. But for our convenience, we have to assume as the gaseous molecules are very closely packed or tightly packed. The concept of continuum allows us to use macroscopic approach. And when we study thermodynamics, we deal with two types of approaches. They are macroscopic approach and a microscopic approach. Basically, macroscopic approach means it is a overall approach. Here, quantities refer are large scale properties. That means we are studying only the overall behavior of the system. In microscopic approach, even small individual molecular behavior and changes can be considered. When you look at this table, you can able to go through the basic differences between macroscopic and microscopic approach. Macroscopic approach means quantities refer large scale properties. Microscopic approach means individual molecular behavior is considered. In macroscopic approach is a classical type of thermodynamics and microscopic approach is statistical thermodynamics. In macroscopic approach, it requires very simple data. Very simple data means with a small or basic data we can able to solve problems. In microscopic approach, we used to follow some advanced statistical methods and more minor data are also required. In microscopic approach, very less variable required to describe the system behavior, and in macroscopic approach, very less variables required to describe the system behavior, and in microscopic approach, more variables required, minute variables also required. And microscopic approach is in overall very easy, since we study only go through some overall outside approach, it will be very easy, and microscopic approach is a complicated method. And now we are going to go through some basic terminologies and definitions. First, path function and point function. Path function is a function which depends on the path of the system following during a change of state. Example, work transfer, heat transfer and a certain type of properties are come under path function. If you look at this graph, in a thermodynamic system, there is two stages or two states, that is stage 1 and stage 2, and at the stage 1 the pressure and the volume are mentioned as P1 and V1, and at the stage 2 the pressure and the volume mentioned as P2 and T2. And when it change from the first stage to second stage, it used to follow a particular path. Particular path means the pressure and the volume constantly increase and decrease, and it follow a particular number of variation in the values. So this is called path function. And point function means it is a function which does not depends on the path which the system follows during a change of state. That means when it is degrees are increase, it will not follow some uniform path. That is, it used to follow some irregular path when or non-uniform path. So such function are called point function. Example, pressure, volume and temperature, such certain quantities are come under point function. And property, any measurable characteristics of the substance and the system remains in equilibrium state is called a property. Basically, when we deal with thermodynamics, we classify properties into two types. They are intensive properties and extensive properties. Intensive property means intensive properties are certain properties which are independent of mass of the system. That is, based on the mass, intensive properties will not vary. Example, pressure, temperature and specific volume are intensive properties. Extensive properties means certain properties which are dependent on the mass of the system. That means if the mass increase or decrease, based on the increase or decrease in mass, these properties also will change. Example, mass, volume, weight and total energy are certain and such type of properties are come under extensive properties. Next we are going through with some terms like system, surroundings and boundary. System means a finite quantity of matter or prescribed region of space. That is, when we assume some object or some area based on thermodynamic analysis, for thermodynamic analysis, we have to consider a certain region, or we have to consider only we are considering only a certain part of the component to do the analysis, and that certain region is called system. Example, if we consider a room, we can consider a room, AC room, or some particular component, engine, etc. So that particular component is called the system. Surroundings means the space and matter external to that thermodynamic system is called the surroundings. That is, apart from the considering area, the remaining space outside the particular component is called surroundings. And boundary is an imaginary surface which separates the system from its surroundings. That is, if you consider any component, for example, if you consider a house or if you consider a garden or any space or something, uh, we consider only a certain part for our analysis. But in thermodynamics, we are going to study the mostly the thermodynamical properties like pressure, temperature, etc. At a time, outside air and outside heat also transfer through the system. So even if you consider a certain region, uh, there is no any closed barrier. Actually, there are different type of system that I will explain later. There is no any proper barrier between the system and surrounding, but we have to assume a certain region as the barrier or boundary, and that assumed area is called boundary. We have to assume a certain portion that which is separate the system from the surrounding, and that assumed portion is called boundary. And a boundary we can classify as real boundary and imaginary boundary. And basically, any thermodynamic system classified as closed system, open system, and isolated system. Closed system have another name as controlled mass system, and open system have another name, controlled volume system. First of all, we are going to learn about closed system, and look at the diagram here. Here, this is a cylinder. In this cylinder, here piston there, and between the piston and cylinder, some gaseous molecules are there. It is some fixed amount of mass, and the piston is the piston, and the outside cylinder cover is the boundary, and this gas will not escape from this piston. That means after this boundary, these gaseous molecules will not pass. So there is no mass transfer across the boundary. That is, some certain amount of gaseous molecules are closely packed inside the system, and these molecules will not leak out of the system. So there is no mass transfer. So if there is no mass transfer, such type of system are called a closed system. But there may be energy transfer. Energy transfer means heat may be come out of the system, or outside heat may be enter the system. So there may be energy transfer. So if there is energy transfer and there is no mass transfer, and such type of system are called closed system. And another type of system is open system. Look here, this is a container and there is some inlet and outlet. Here some gaseous molecules enter through the inlet and some molecules escape from the through the outlet. So here mass getting entered and mass escaped from there. So there is mass transfer. Also there may be energy transfer also. Heat also will transfer inside and outside. So such type of system are called the open system. That is matter flow in or out of the system. That means mass and energy both will transfer. Both mass transfer and energy transfer also there. Such type of system are called open system. Example, turbine is an example for open system. And third type of system is isolated system. Isolated system means there may be no mass transfer and there may be no energy transfer. For example, if you consider a thermal flask, in a thermal flask, if you fill some hot water, the temperature of the water also will not change after certain time. Also, the water also will not leak from the flask. So, such a type of system are called isolated system. AC room also we can assume AC room as isolated system because the doors are sealed properly and there will maybe no transfer of energy inside and outside the system. So if a system isolated or if it is closely packed and there will be no heat transfer or no energy transfer, such a type of system we can name as isolated system. And thermodynamic equilibrium, when there is no change in macroscopic properties such as temperature, pressure, etc. in a system, then such a system is said to be in a state of thermodynamic equilibrium. A system is said to be in state of thermodynamic equilibrium if it is satisfied three conditions. That is, if it is mechanically, thermal and chemically stable, such a type of system are called thermodynamic equilibrium. Thermal equilibrium means there is no change in temperature with respect to the time. Mechanical equilibrium means there is no change in pressure with respect to the time. Chemical equilibrium means all possible chemical reactions have takes place and there may be no changes in the phase with respect to the time. So if it satisfies these three conditions, if it satisfies these three equilibrium and such type of component or such type of system are called in thermodynamic equilibrium. Other terminologies are state, path and process. State means condition of system at an instant of time as described or measured by its properties. Path means the success of state passed through during change of state is called path. Any change that a system undergoes from one equilibrium state to another state is called process. That is, if you look at these two diagrams, initially when we keep a weight above the piston, it is in compressed state, and when you remove the weight due to the pressure of the gaseous molecules and it expanded and it is in expansion state. So initially at the compressed state the pressure will be high, temperature will be high and volume will be low and mass is constant in both the stages. And in the expansion state temperature and pressure are low but volume is in very high. Next we are going to learn about some basic thermodynamic processes. Basically there are four types of thermodynamic processes. They are isochoric process, isobaric process, isothermal process and adiabatic process. Isochoric process means there in this process we have to assume volume as constant, and in isobaric process we have to assume pressure as constant, and in isothermal process temperature is constant, and in adiabatic process pressure into volume power gamma is constant. So there are many more type of process. These are some basic type of thermodynamic processes. And another one basic type of process are quasi-static process. Here look at this diagram. Here this is a piston cylinder and above the piston there is a stopper, and we have to keep a 10 kg weight, 10 kg, not 10 kg, assume as 10 kg, some 10 kg weight above the piston. And if we remove the weight suddenly, it will, the piston, due to the pressure of the gas inside the piston cylinder, the piston go up in a very fast manner, and it will reach the top of the piston cylinder, and due to the stopper it will stop. So when you remove this weight, initially the piston, when the weight is there, the pressure, volume and temperature of the gas is assumed as P1, V1 and T1. And when it reaches, after removal of this weight, it reaches the stopper, and here the pressure and volume and temperature are assumed as P2, V2 and T2. So when we suddenly remove the weight, the gas molecules, after crossing many non-equilibrium conditions, and it will reach the final stage. And in case if you divide the weight each as 1 kg, that is, this is a single 10 kilogram piece, and if you split the weight as single 1 kilogram piece, and if you remove it one by one, it will cross through many continuous equilibrium state. Continuous equilibrium state means step by step it will uniformly vary. Uniformly vary means the pressure and the volume, it will vary in a uniform manner, and it will pass through number of continuous equilibrium state, and it finally will reach the uh, stopper. Reach the stopper means this P2, V2, T2 condition. So if it passes through continuous equilibrium stage, such type of processes are called quasi-static process. Basically, quasi-static processes are reversible type of process. Again, if you add the weight one by one, it will reach to the P1, V1, T1 condition. That means it will reach the bottom of the cylinder, and when it pass through, it will follow some uniform pressure, volume and temperature conditions. So it is a reversible type of process. And the relation between work, heat and sign conversion. Work is the multiple of force and distance traveled. Positive work is done by a system during a given process when sole effect external to the system could be reduced to lift a mass. And when you supply work to a system, that is called negative work. That is, if you give work to a system, that is called a negative work. When we give work to a system, it will give output as heat, and that heat is positive heat. And similarly, in vice versa, if you supply heat to a system, it will give work as output, and that work is considered as positive work, and that heat is considered as negative heat. So this is about the sign conversion between work and heat. Both heat and work are not properties of system. Both are boundary phenomena because they are energies which are crossing the system boundary. Both are transient quantities. The energy interaction occurs only when a system undergoes change of state. Both are different forms of energy, and the unit of heat is joule, and both cannot be stored by the system. And basic differences between heat and work are: heat is a low grade energy where work is a high grade energy. When we convert work to heat, the efficiency will be very high, and at the same time, when you supply heat and we get work as output, the efficiency is too low. And specific heat capacity. Specific heat capacity means the quantity of heat required to rise the temperature of 1 kilogram of substance to 1 Kelvin. That means we supply heat to a system, and how much amount of heat required to rise its temperature by 1 Kelvin. That means we have to heat, if we heat a very huge amount of substance, and to rise the temperature of 1 kilogram of substance to 1 Kelvin, how much heat required to supply that amount of quantity of heat is called specific heat capacity, and the unit of specific heat capacity is joule per kilogram Kelvin. And specific heat capacity, there are two types of specific heat capacity. That is specific heat capacity at a constant volume and specific heat capacity at a constant pressure. Specific heat capacity at constant volume means in that we have to assume volume as constant, and it is for specific heat capacity at a constant volume for air is 0.718 kilojoule per kilogram, and it is a constant value. Specific heat capacity at constant pressure means it is the quantity of heat required to rise the temperature of 1 mole of gas through 1 Kelvin by keeping pressure as constant. So here we have to keep pressure as constant, and when we go through the specific heat capacity, there may be some more important constant we get derived from that. That is universal gas constant. Universal gas constant is R equal to 0.287 kilojoule per kilogram, and specific heat capacity at constant pressure for air is 1.007 kilojoule per kilogram Kelvin. And regarding law of thermodynamics, there are basically three laws of thermodynamics. First law is zeroth law, and the second one is first law, and the second law. First, zeroth law of thermodynamics. When a body A is in thermal equilibrium with a body B, and also separately with a body C, the B and C will be in thermal equilibrium with each other. That is, for example, if you keep some hot water or something which is very heat, consider as some 30 degree or 40 degree, and with that we keep some cold substances. Cold substances means something which is less than that, around 10 degree or 5 degree. If you consider some 3-4 objects together, and these all objects, when we keep closer, their temperature will come to a constant value. Constant value means some average value of the temperature. They will mutually they will transfer their heat, and they will come to a constant or equilibrium stage. So that is called zeroth law. So that only they are mentioned in the definition here. So it is the basic of temperature measurement. For temperature measurement, certain things are derived from the zeroth law of thermodynamics only. Look at the diagram here. Here three components there. One is in 20 degree, one is in 40 degree, and another is in 30 degree. After few minutes, actually the average temperature of these three components is 30. These three components transfer their heat mutually with each other, and 3 becomes reached that average stage. So this is called zeroth law of thermodynamics. And for calculating thermometer, there are two types of scales used. One is Celsius scale and Fahrenheit scale. In Celsius scale, the readings between 0 degree and 100 degree Celsius, and in Fahrenheit scale, it will be between 32 degree Fahrenheit and 212 degree Fahrenheit. This 100 degree Celsius is equivalent to this 212 degree Fahrenheit, and this 0 degree Celsius is equivalent to 32 degree Fahrenheit. And the boiling point of water is 100 degree Celsius or 212 degree Fahrenheit, and the freezing point of water is 0 degree Celsius or it is equivalent to 32 degree Fahrenheit. And one interesting fact about the boiling point of water is it will change according to the height. If you travel to some high altitude, the boiling point will be less than 100 degree. That is, before the temperature reaches 100 degree, it will boil. It is due to the pressure variation. And another thing is triple point of water. The state at which ice, liquid, water and water vapor coexist in equilibrium is called triple point of water. That is, at minus 273 degree, water will be in three states: liquid, ice and vapor. And the second law is first law of thermodynamics. Basically, zeroth law is the first law and the first law is the second law. Amount of heat energy supplied to a system is equal to the sum of the change in internal energy of the system and work done by the system. It is also called as law of conservation of energy. Look at the piston cylinder here. W is the work done by the system, and heat Q is the heat absorbed by the system. If it is positive, that is work done by the system, and if the W is negative, that is work done on the system. That is, if you supply work on the system, that will be negative. And if in case of heat, if it is positive, that is heat absorbed by the system, and if it is negative, that is heat evolved by the system. And delta Q is the heat energy supplied to the gas, and U1 and U2 are the initial and the final internal energy. Internal energy means it is the energy inside the system, and delta W is the work done by the system. So from this we will get a relation as delta Q equal to delta W plus delta U. In another way, we can write it as delta Q equal to delta W plus U2 minus delta U means it is U2 minus U1.